What up, I'm Rob Level. I'm about to tell you a crazy part of my life story about how my dad died, crippled, deaf, and in a wheelchair when I was just a kid, and how it's cursed my life since that moment. All right, where do I start? While my mom was 4 months pregnant with me, they found out that my dad had dozens and dozens of small tumors in his brain, not just one. Doctors told him that they were there too far along for them to be able to remove them without killing him or causing serious brain injury. And basically from the moment that I was born, a few months later, I was slowly watching my dad die. So before we get into it though, I want to personally thank you for watching this video. And that's because I know that this video is going to help a lot of people and I hope it helps you, but this story is going to get really intense. So I hope it doesn't bring up any trauma for you like it does for me. I hate thinking about this, but the brain tumors eventually led to him losing his ability to walk, which put him in a wheelchair. He also lost his ability to speak when he went deaf. Now he could still communicate with us by reading lips and sign language, but he couldn't talk. So to really be able to communicate with him, I had to learn the basics of sign language. And before I could even do any of that, I had to talk to him using a whiteboard, writing out every single thing that I wanted to say to him. So, kind of like this. You see how much that sucks? And if my handwriting is this bad now, imagine how it was when I was 4, 5 years old. Oh, I can only imagine. And that's if I could even spell words. So I had to learn sign language. Now, when you're 4 years old, it's hard to get a lot of kids with behavior issues to want to learn anything new, especially sign language. So they would, what's the word? Cajole me. Cajole is good. How about incentivize? They used to incentivize me to want to learn sign language. And if I learn new words, especially I remember the first time that I got really good at the ABCs, they let me rent a video game. So I practiced a lot because I really liked video games when I was a kid. Less than a year later when I was 5, my mom gave me up and I only saw my dad a few more times after that because my aunt lived like 8-10 hours away. My dad couldn't drive a car, he was crippled. So I only saw my dad a couple times and I don't have too many good memories. The only memory I have of my dad when he came to visit, my grandpa brought him down and I did something that's like, now looking back at it, I remember the first time I thought about it, I was like, damn, talk about tearing up, man, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. That's one of my only memories of my father. But 2 years after I was adopted, my dad died. I was 7 years old. I want to go a little bit deeper into the story though, so it gets told the way that it needs to be told, okay? Now this is how they found out that my dad had brain tumors. My dad would get off of work and he'd go over to my mom's house. And because the headaches were so bad, think about this, he would throw up. Literally, he couldn't see sometimes. Eventually when it kept happening, think about living like that. But when it kept happening, they put it off because they didn't have any money. They brought him to the hospital. The hospital said, you need to get an MRI. And that's when they found out he had brain tumors. And not only 3 large brain tumors, but like I said in the beginning of this, they also found dozens and dozens of other ones. He had his first brain tumor surgery before I was even born. And it was the same year my mom graduated high school. And when they opened up his skull, they had to crack it open. And it's crazy, think about that. They saw all these little things that looked like little pen dots. And the doctor said to my mom that there were so many, it was hard to count them all. After surgery, he had physical therapy, speech therapy, and vision therapy to help recover from the surgery. And because of that surgery, my dad was completely paralyzed on one side of his face. And I didn't even know that for a long time. That's why in every picture, my dad has that look. I don't even have any pictures of my dad where he's normal. 1 year for my birthday, my mom got me a photocopy of his driver's license. And that was the only normal picture I've ever seen of him. And that was when he was like 19 years old. After that surgery, from then on, it was just a survival game. And then I was born in St. James Hospital in Chicago Heights, Illinois, on the south side of Chicago, which is now actually not even a hospital anymore, it got shut down. Right after I was born, my mom and dad got an apartment in West Chicago. And I remember my mom was just out of high school. She was working 2 jobs at the same time and trying to take classes to be a nurse at South Holland. And my dad stayed home and he'd watch me. And because of his condition, that's all he could really do. Now, my mom got really sick when I was 1 year old and she was admitted to the hospital with pneumonia, like bad. And that's when the doctors told her that she had juvenile type 1 diabetes. And that's when things got even harder for her because no one was helping her bring my dad to the doctor. My family thought, why are you even with him? He's dying. So nobody was helping. And things were just getting worse and worse. And they both now had health conditions. Because no one was helping my mom and all that stress, and then her finding out she had diabetes, my mom moved back home with her parents, and my dad moved back with my grandpa. And my mom was still picking up my dad, though, twice a week and bringing him to the doctor, because that's what he had to do. But now, since my mom was so stressed out, and her life was getting worse, and she was sick, and my dad was sick, and she was working and trying to go to school, and no one was helping bring him to the doctor's appointments. It was hard for people to want to watch me because I was so bad. Everything was just getting worse. Slowly, my father started pushing my mom away. telling her that it wasn't fair to her that she had to be with someone who was dying. And don't forget all that stress that she had on her didn't include all this stress from me, because I was uncontrollable. But in my next story, I'll tell you why my mom had to put me in psychiatric hospitals. Either way, hope you enjoyed this. And I'm gonna tell you more crazy stories in my next one. You guys look in the description, you'll see all the crazy stories, okay? So I just wanna thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. And do me a favor really quick, because this isn't just for me. Please share your painful or your joyful stories, your opinions and your thoughts about this story that you just saw. Share that below in the comments, because you never know who's gonna read it, and you never know who's gonna help in the future. And if you have a few seconds, please comment and help others. Comment to other people who are telling their stories below, so that they know that their story matters, that it's being heard, and that other people do care. They may not have somebody. I love to see what you want to change about your life too. So if you want to put that below, put it there. You know, if you're struggling with anything, write it out below. No one's judging you, because I'm telling everybody to help each other. So you tell your story, tell things below. And you'll also notice that I'm in the comments below a lot responding to people, because I want to see this stuff, because I want to take your stories, get your stories heard. So I want to be able to put your story on my website, mycrazylifestory.com, so other people can hear your story. It can inspire and motivate them as well, and let them know that they're not alone in the struggles and the pains that they're experiencing. All right, okay, one last thing. Please like this video while subscribing too, because it will help this story share to more people, to inspire them. And that's because of how the YouTube algorithm works. I really appreciate it. Now, to hear the next screwed up part of my story, or see all the other crazy stories that happened, I put all the links that were part of my life story song below this video for you, with titles. And when you see them, you're gonna wanna watch every single one of them. So at least go below and look at those. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a bunch of these videos on the screen for you, while one of my songs that fits this story plays in the background. I'm Rob Level. Keep believing in yourself. Keep hustling, and I'll see you at the top. And the next part of this story is one of the craziest stories. I'm gonna tell you why my mom had to put me in psychiatric wards when I was 9 years old. Let's just say it involved me grabbing a butcher knife. I'll just leave it at that. Link's gonna be below this video for that. Grabbed a butcher knife and I chased my little brother around the house with it. Chased him upstairs. My mom's screaming, "Get in the room! Lock it, Billy, lock the door!" You know, and he locked himself in a room. And I stood outside the door. And this really happened. I'm saying creepy stuff like, "I'm gonna get you, Billy."
Here's Johnny.
Level.
Ooh, I would've thought by now that I'd be way past these days. By now that my top be down on my brand new black Mercedes. Thought I would've made it by now. Thought I would've made it by now. Thought I would've made it by now. Thought I would've made it by now.
Working 9 to 5, saving to survive. Pay the bills and put a little to the side.